challenging task for an institution like St. John's would be tailoring the curriculum to meet the needs of the society around it, and also to find the right teaching methods to eliminate the effects of the challenges these children have gone through, some even from the streets. And even though St. John's has succeeded in molding good characters from the unique learners they receive, the head teacher says they do not have any special teaching methods. They have only done what the syllabus recommends, but to the letter.
I work at St. John's Community Center. I'm the deputy head teacher in the primary section. Every particular child has a different story to them. But in terms of curriculum, our curriculum is it's more of a liberated curriculum. Yes, we teach the normal subjects that are supposed to be taught in school, but also we put more emphasis on the functionality of that curriculum. We would want to call it an informal education curriculum, but of late we've more of adopted the subjects that make it look more formal, but we still make that formal part of the education to be functional, in the sense that there are subjects that, like creative art and stuff, really put a lot of emphasis on that, so that we unlock who the child is, their potential, just to explore who they are. So for us, it's more of educating the person, rather than just educating the mind for the grades purposes. When you talk about formal, it has a structure in terms of the way that it goes. Structured time, structured lessons, and those kind of things. When you talk about non-formal, it's without structure. You have probably, depending on the way the children are responding, you teach them according to the way, the level they are, and how they're moving along with things. And you don't have like a structured way of doing things. So the school curriculum builds around what is good for that particular student. So, and they don't have like timetables and breaks like the ones that we have in school. It's structured around the patterns and the lives of that group of people. We conduct interviews like in July of a year that we know we're going to take the children to class 1 next year. And these children whom we take up in St. John's mostly are children who have not been to school. And they are about 7, 8, 9 years. By that age in Kenya nowadays, a child should have at least been in 2 years in school or so. 3 years in school. But these ones that we take have not been to school. And there's a reason for that. Probably their parents are not able to take them to the early childhood education centers, or they have some issues in their homes that are keeping them away from school. So at this point that St. John's intervenes is where we realize that this child might not be able to get into school. So St. John's comes in to intervene at that particular point, take this child in. They have never stepped into a class, and since St. John's only has class 1 up to class 8, we come in to now as a stopgap measure for this particular child, to bridge that gap where the child is not able to go to a public school or any other school. And once we take them in, we factor in the fact that because this child comes from a poor background, they need to build up skills for their lives. And factoring in that because of this poverty and the way education in Kenya actually is, people want to say it's free education, but education is still very expensive for most of it. Yeah. It's costly. So we project into the future and see that what are the prospects of this child going to secondary school or anything like that, because many of the children in the slums might wind up not going to secondary school. Having projected there, we tailor-make a curriculum that would suit this child, that in the event that they do not go to secondary school, they can build a life around the skills they have been exposed to, the knowledge that they have acquired in that period of time. So that is what we focus on when we are taking this child in. They get the basic arithmetic skills, they get all these other skills that other normal children from public schools and whatever will get. But added to that, we add things that tell us that this child, if they never make it to go to secondary school, then they will still become a productive part of the society. We have activities that build around the abilities of the children, and also building around positive behavior change and transformation. Why do we focus on this? Number one, because when you look, the children are gifted in different ways. And just as I mentioned before, we want to unlock that which, if this child doesn't make it to secondary school, it will be able to propel them to the next level of their lives. So centering these activities around, Pumwani is an area that is known for sports, especially football. And in the last 5 or 6 years, we've had a very big impact in terms of football, where the girls especially have been able to get scholarships to go to secondary school simply because of football, fully paid 4 years scholarships. Also, we have been able to get boys who have gone to schools, and we had one who was taken to Leather Hill High School, a school that probably even you and me would find it hard to pay for ourselves. But that ability, that sporting ability, is the one that propels them to be seen and go to that particular area. So we pride ourselves in working on such activities like sports, football, and we're also working on others like handball. Lately we've been having a tennis coach coming around to train the children, just trying to expose the children more and more to developing new skills that they can appreciate, that would give them a platform to move to the next level. On the other side, when it's not sports, we have things to do with music, and we have, I think, in the whole of Starehe, if I get my arithmetic correct about music, is that we are the only brass band that is there in Starehe. You come the music festivals and we go to perform, we are the only ones that are there. And the instruments that we get were a donation from a school in Norway. And we got a tutor to come and train the kids in terms of playing those instruments. And I must say, it's impressive how these kids, just the basic things that they have missed when they were in lower primary and when they were still out of school, given that opportunity, they're able to play those instruments, sometimes even better than schools that are well endowed. And like this year, we are planning to go to the nationals with our brass band. We are preparing ourselves for that. And of late, we've had several of the children who have been able to earn a living out of those skills. Like we have 4 or 5 who are now qualified carpenters who earn a living from that. They construct cabinets for finishings in houses. They work at furniture yards and the like. There's also another one who makes the trolleys for pushing sausages and eggs and stuff. So this gives us a lot of satisfaction, knowing that most of those ones who never went to secondary school are able to do something with their lives. I would like to think it's special, but also it's not special. Everything that we do here is not foreign to the curriculum that is currently there. It's only that in the minds of Kenyans, and this is a personal view, when we usually have the exams announced and we see people jumping and celebrating, lifting up children and saying that they have done very well in their exams, our minds are skewed towards thinking about exams. But the reality here is that the child is a whole person. Not everyone will get an A, even in the best school. That is not going to happen to everyone. So when we are looking at this child, we are looking at other things that are making this child unique. So when we are focusing on these things, we are not doing something that is special and makes it easier. We're just looking at the way the Kenyan curriculum is thought about. And when you look at the curriculum, the way it's built up, it focuses on the holistic development of the child. And learning is not only about you are very good in mathematics, very good in English, and very good. Learning is wide. But the problem is the Kenyan public has skewed their minds to only think about that one aspect, the academic aspect. And so when their thoughts are narrowed down on that, when we do what is actually supposed to be done, it looks strange. It looks special, but we are just doing what is supposed to have been happening all through. Thankfully, in St. John's, we have partners that support us. And part of the support is they give us funds that help us to focus on behavior change. Part of that behavior change is psychosocial support. Like you rightly said, there are children who have been to traumatic situations. Some probably were raped when they were very small. Some probably were abandoned by their parents. Some probably have parents that are alcoholics and the like. So the children are taken through psychosocial support. We have support programs that deal with such kind of matters. But also, in addition to that, because the first person who deals with the child is the teacher, the teachers also have undergone psychosocial support training so that they can be able also to identify some of the things that would show that there is a deeper lying situation that this child needs to be explored most to help out this child. So there's a lot of emphasis that is put upon looking at this child, getting to understand the child first of all before we pass any judgment. It's unfortunate that when you think about academics and you only want to see the results, you forget that if the wellness of the child, their psychological health is not dealt with, then there is no way that this child will perform the way you want them to perform. The government also has put a lot of mechanisms to do that. But I think it's an individual thing. It's a personal thing to want to focus on the child. And thankfully, St. John's has put an emphasis on that. And more and more, the teacher focuses on the holistic development of the child. And that also pertains to psychosocial issues of the child.
It's a personal initiative.
Yes.
There is introduction of technology in education right now. How relevant do you think that element would be to the society that you are handling?
We cannot run away from the fact that the world is changing technologically, and it's very relevant because the future of the world is going to be more advanced in terms of technology. So we cannot remain in the dark ages just thinking that we will work things out like that. So I would say that it is relevant. Whereas we need to strike a balance, but it's very relevant. The only thing is that the children who come from the background that we teach are disadvantaged. They cannot get their hands to technological devices and stuff. And many times we it's an Anglican-sponsored institution. We are considered to be private, so to speak. So we do not get the government subsidy or support that we would require because we are considered. There's only private and there's public, so there's nothing in between. So us, we are treated like private. It's sad to look at it in that way because where those things are needed the most, they might not reach there. And we give things to people who already probably have all that they require. Our plea would be that slum schools, whether they are considered to be private or public, should actually get more of a privilege to get these things than other schools. I'm not saying that all the schools which are not in the slums are well and all, but there is a need for these particular ones so that we can bridge that gap. Let them get a wider spectrum of the world. Give them that opportunity to be able to do that. Because if they can play brass instruments, if they can do all that they do with the little opportunities that they get, then what about if they were given a larger platform to do all these things? What would they be able to do? I'd like to say that education is about learning. And learning is centered around the child. Learning is not centered around what we think about the child. Give the children opportunity to be able to learn. Let's not force them to cram. Let's work around what the child is good at because God never made a mistake giving the children abilities.
ELIMU Ningovo takes a short break, but we are coming back still at St. John's, taking you through the activities they take their learners through to make extraordinary people out of the learners they receive. Keep it right here.